See my screen?
Yeah, visible?
Yeah. See this question number 12.
Ah,
Uh, I believe the question answer for that is already given. Provide information to the stakeholder as needed. But
mm-hmm.
I feel working closely with the stakeholder to proactively address their concern may also be the answer for this.
Oh,
So
really? Okay. Okay. Let's understand together. Okay. Let's read the question. A marketing team has identified the target audience for their company's new website. Marketing already identified. Okay, it's happened. This audience is varied and geographically dispersed, but the marketing team wants to compile a statistical analysis quickly. Okay, physically distributed. Different time zones could be there. Hmm. What tool or a technique should the project manager use to gather this information? Which information? Statistical analysis. Is it information? New website. Okay. What is the key terms as per you, Guru Prasad, in your question, as per you?
as per me, the audience is not located at one location. They are
Mm-hmm.
geographically spread. And what we need to do is that work closely with them so that we can understand their needs and we are able to come out with solution.
Mm,
So for me, to have this better understanding, we should be working closely with the stakeholders to address their concern. Whereas the
mm,
answer given is that provide information to the stakeholder as needed.
Okay, I'm trying to understand still the question. I'm reading the last line again. What a tool or technique should the manager use to gather this information? What you should use to gather this information? Okay, let's me take the first answer. One of the technique I will use is I will work closely with the stakeholders to proactively address their concerns. What concerns has been reported here? Why you have to be proactive? Mm, is there any concerns addressed here, or we are collecting information?
No, they are collecting the information, analysis.
Right, but why should I be very proactive to address their concerns? I'm trying to understand that part. But what do you think, Guru Prasad? What you are trying to address concern? Why you have to be proactive?
Finally, the company has to discuss with the
Yes.
final customer that what exactly is required so that they can start working in that direction. So
Makes sense. Makes sense. But why should I address? What is sparking in your mind as a concern? What could be a concern here while collecting data?
I would like to also chime in. So the same thing I also answered because they had already established the target audience. So they
Uh-huh.
know who is the target audience, but they still want a statistical analysis stating like which is the strata that will be their target. So they're
Mm.
just reconfirming their decision. So it's like a concern. Are we going correct? We have the target audience, but
Ah,
we want
okay.
a statistical analysis. So that is why I also chose the same answer. And
Mm.
in nowhere does it, in the explanation, it states that the stakeholder has little authority or influence. I don't know how, where it is mentioned that they don't
Okay.
have authority or influence.
Okay. Okay, then let me challenge with a question like this. When they say stakeholder, who all inside this stakeholder bubble? In this question, in your stakeholder bubble, who all coming? Only audience or
marketing team.
The marketing team as well as the audience, both.
okay, now marketing team is a stakeholder, audience is a stakeholder, the manager himself or her is a stakeholder, and the people who are going to prepare a company website could be a stakeholder. Geographically dispersed could be different country authorities may also involve, possibly, isn't it? If it is a website which collects the age and other detail or lot of robbery information or some other information they're going to collect. We don't know who all authority is going to involve. I'm just trying to expand the question, okay? I don't want to do that, but I'm trying to expand it. When I use a word stakeholder, I don't want to restrict only with the audience. I'm going to see different people here as a manager. Now, let's read the last line of the question again. What tool or a technique should the manager use to gather this information? Now, I am seeing at least 3 or 4 stakeholders circle here. In this, which stakeholder I will have influence on?
Only the people developing the website, like the marketing
Okay.
team, development team.
Marketing team. Yeah, even audience I can have influence. I'm not denying that, right? Can have. But some people I will have direct influence, some will have indirect influence. Now let's read the answer A again. Work closely with the stakeholder to proactively address their concerns. Still, it makes very valuable answer because I can proactively address my marketing team problem. I can proactively address my statistical analyzing team or audience also there. Okay. But still, what is missing here? Let's see that also. Let's go further a couple of answers now. Keep track of the stakeholder and respond to their needs. I don't think it's needed because you already have a set of stakeholders with you. Provide information to the stakeholder as needed. Okay, there it stops. Let's go to the last one. Include the stakeholder on standard updates and keep them satisfied. Okay. I believe these guys are trying to address the stakeholder quadrant. You remember the stakeholder quadrant? Okay. So now let's put a quadrant. In this quadrant, if I keep people here like a marketing and audience, where should I keep them? High power, low power. Where should I keep them?
High power.
High power stakeholders. Okay. Can you go further down on the explanation? Let us see what they want to explain there. Oh, yeah, that's what they're talking, I believe. Okay. Provide information to stakeholder as needed. It is a very vague statement, right? Open statement. Let's see what they're trying to say. Since a stakeholder has a little authority or influence, the project manager does not need to work closely with them to address their concern. How come they're saying since stakeholder has a little authority or influence? From where this statement is coming? Let's see if anyone can help me. Let's go to the question back again. Why they say that? Mhm.
No, this sentence provide information. This stakeholder is little authority is coming from the power and interest sentence.
True, but in the question, where you see that?
But no, we are not seeing there. So even the question, if you read the second paragraph, the question is saying what tool or technique should the project manager use to gather this information, and what information he has to is the analysis of the user data. So I actually could not find any answer which will be really a solution to this question. Even that's where the confusion is.
Now I'm trying to see the second line on this question. Answer justification. Since the stakeholder has a little authority or influence, the project manager does not need to work closely with them to address their concerns or keep track of them and their needs. That sentence, if we understand, I think we got the clue in this whole puzzle. So they're saying that the stakeholder has a little authority or influence. Little authority or influence on what?
They're geographically dispersed, no? So,
Okay.
And like they're varied and geographically dispersed. Maybe they're from the functionalized, they'll not be dedicated, so they'll not be little poor. So that's why.
Okay. I'm still trying to connect the dots. When they say little authority, Guru Prasad, I'm going to take the screen for a few seconds, okay?
Yeah.
This picture, part of our class somewhere we discussed. I think this is what we are talking, right now. We are talking about, they're telling these guys are having low power, low interest. Is it they mentioning low power, low interest? Or low power, high interest? What they mentioned the answer justification?
Low interest and low power. Low power and high interest.
High interest.
Low power
Okay.
and high interest should be kept informed.
Is it somewhere here?
No.
Is it somewhere here? High in interest, low in power. Is it correct?
Yes.
Or other way?
No, the answer
High in
states that
interest and low in
Both
power.
are low.
No. In the justification, answer justification, I
yeah,
heard.
yeah, in the answer justification, it has been mentioned the stakeholder with low power and high interest in the project should be kept informed. So the answer, which correct answer shows, is that provide information to the stakeholders as needed. We did not work closely with them.
So this is, I think this picture is what they're trying to see from you in the question paper, isn't it? As per the exam content outline, they want you to be aware of which stakeholder, how to handle. But the tricky
Yes.
part is we don't know which stakeholder they are pointing to.
Yes,
Okay,
right.
that's a tricky part. Let's
Yes.
go to the tricky part. I know this is not an easy question to solve straight away. So I'll stop sharing this. Now I'll go back to the question again. Where is the question again? Now let us see the question again to understand better. So they're asking what tools or techniques should the manager use to gather this information. So you're going to drive this initiative, involve with all these stakeholders to get this information collected. Now, if I'm asking the second question again, the statement, the justification, the second line says, since a stakeholder has a little authority or influence. Now, the moment you see the word authority or influence, authority over the project, influence over the project. But in this question, do anywhere we see the term, they tell they have a low power, somewhere it is mentioned?
No, they have not mentioned anything.
Okay. Whereas, did they mention a high interest somewhere?
No.
That is also not mentioned. Then how to conclude it? Let's go back to the justification again. Since a stakeholder has a little authority or influence, the project manager does not need to work closely with them to address their concerns or keep track of them and their needs. The stakeholder does not need standard updates either. The project manager should determine the stakeholders' needs and provide information to them to meet their needs. Okay, this is all going by assumption. Let's go to the next sentence. High power, high interest stakeholders should be closely managed. Stakeholder with a high power, low interest should be keep informed. I think they're explaining all. Those with the low interest, low power shall be only monitored with the minimum effort. A stakeholder with the low power and high interest as a project should be kept informed. The question and duration were developed in reference to PMBOK Guide 5th edition. They went to 5th edition. Okay, it is still applicable now. It's a 5th edition. Now, in this tricky question, there is nowhere they mention who has a power, who has an interest. Now, let's listen to one or two people who read the stakeholder carefully. You let me know what is the difference between answer A and answer C. Let's listen to one of you because you read this chapter from the beginning on the preparation towards examination. Let's see what your brain says about the difference between these two.
Stakeholder who has low power and low interest will fall under first category. Work closely with them, and C is like when they have high interest and low power. That time we just keep them informed. That is the third category.
Yep. Thanks for that, Kushbu. So point is, in this question, there is no explicit expression of whether high power, low power. Nothing is mentioned here. When nothing is mentioned, why you should choose A where you want to work closely? You can ask me the question back, why should I not work? That also can be a question. Now let's put the first question on a benefit of advantage towards the manager. When they say tools and techniques should the manager provide to gather this information, it's not anywhere mentioned these people are more important, you have to spend time with them. If that's the case, should I really work closely with them? Now you can argue back, why don't I think them as a low power, low interest? Isn't it? We can argue, right? We can argue low power, low interest. If it is a low power, low interest, which answer I have to choose?
Low power, low interest would go include the stakeholder on standard updates because we are not obliged to give them updates out of if they are low power and low interest both. But in this case, as the explanation says, they are low power but high interest. So maybe that's why C is there. But I still have my doubts.
I think after seeing the answer, our brain is trying to accommodate to that.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
actually, because what they're saying is that it is a website and the audience is the king. Like generally, that is how. So they have the highest power. That is how I answered this to be worked closely. Audience is what you're building the website for, right? So then how come they have the least, they are having low power?
Okay. That's a good question. That's a good question. But again, who is interested towards this statistical data collection and preparing the website?
This would be the internal ones, whether they are targeting the right audience. There should be someone who's developing the website, like sponsor of the website, because they want to see whether this is the real audience that they are targeting with this website.
Very good. Very good. Let's divide into two groups. Marketing team, website team is in my company, X company, Accenture. Audience is sitting in somewhere in South Africa and Argentina. That's where I have to do it. Okay. What data I'm going to collect, I really don't know. Okay. This is a team, that's a team. Now, in this team, who has the power to derail the project? Yeah, someone who should have the power to influence the outcome of the project. No, nothing will happen. Project will stop. Who has that power?
The audience. If
Audience has the power. Audience has the power. Very good. Now, now audience has a power to stop the project itself. It can go down. And you have your team. I don't know, your team, marketing team is there. These people also has some power, but not that power. But your marketing team and the website team, do they have power or do they have interest high?
Yeah,
high interest because they are expecting returns, financial gains out of that. So they have a high
The
interest.
chances are their interest is a bit higher.
Yeah.
If I have a bunch of stakeholders, if I'm going to focus some of them as a manager, I don't have influence on my audience. I don't want to do that also because project is given to my team and team is working. Let's imagine like that. Marketing team, website team, this team is going to work. This team doesn't have a high power. Maybe they have a low power in this project, but they have more interest in this project to collect the data, make it happen. In that way, I can keep these guys on one side. Other side is I have an audience. Audience are sitting in South Africa and Argentina. They have a high power. They may be less interest. I don't know really, but they are like this. Now in this category, as a project manager, where I have influence right now, if I ask me,
Only on
since
the
my
marketing team.
since my marketing team already identified, I do not interfere into that. At least I have influence with my marketing team. I have influence with my PMO. I have influence with my website teams. With them, I can work. With these guys and with the sum of the audience, I can spend time. That's what I can do. So if I observe this question is not giving any clarity who is being targeted. But going with answer A is a bit tricky for me. If I say work closely, which means I already going to spend time with the high power people. But I don't see a marketing team as a high power team in this project. I would give audience could be high power than the marketing team. My view. I'll give the choices to you. What do you think as a professional? When you read these books, what do you think? Who is the high power right now?
High power is the audience, but we don't have the means to work with them directly. So we
Right.
have to work with someone who has high interest but low power.
Yeah.
Is the only one accessible.
Yeah. Let's leave the answer as it is. I don't want to go and prove that that's the right answer. I don't want to go there. You can even debate and argue on this because it's one of the question to make us to read that quadrant. Okay. We can debate. Since we saw the answer, our brain is trying to map it. Oh, that is how, this is how. Oh, that's why this guy killed this guy. Huh? In the movie, sometimes we connect ourselves. Oh, that's why he was jumping there. Now I understand the movie. I don't want to do that. Okay, I leave it here because my intention of this question explanation discussion is how do you read that quadrant? When we read the quadrant, we read high power, low power, high interest, low interest. That's why you would have read it. When you read a question, now you see, oh, okay, that's why they put that. That's not that only. If I read this question, when I say marketing team and audience, both together as a stakeholder, I'm sure some of you would have sparked because you would have read a stakeholder means only audience. After we discuss marketing, website development, government authorities in South Africa, and some of the regulatory bodies are coming inside, now you start seeing as a manager, oh man, these many people have to work. You have to. There is something called EEF. What EEF stands for?
External environmental factors.
Enterprise environmental
Interface,
And,
factor.
and
Yeah, you're close to that. You're close to that. You're good. Good. You tried. Huh? Good. You tried. So we have enterprise environmental factors, isn't it? There are a lot of influential parameters. But Shri, for this one question, for 1 mark, should I spend time like this? Is it worth?
Some will be easy, some will be tough. So we have to
Yes.
spend more time.
Exactly. One question, it will kill you to the core, looks a very simple question. A big question, while reading a clue, suddenly you'll get it. But here the clue is not clear. So to me, when I read this question, if I would have read this question without seeing the answers, I would have first see why I should work closely with someone who is powerful here. That's what I will see. If I don't see anyone powerful here, I will not take a risk there. Then I will start searching other answer. Will I found the right answer? I don't know right now. But I'll be a bit careful because I know back of my mind, work closely means someone is high power. But the moment I read the question, I will say that audience is high power. As a manager, I may not able to spend time with the audience now, or rather I'll focus on marketing and website team. But still, I may make mistakes in exam also. But I feel I will not do that part. Now, coming to your knowledge purpose, while you read the question, you will start seeing these parameters also. So, reading the last line of the question is important. Reading which concept they're trying to ask you. This is called PMI mindset. PMI mindset. PMI mindset is from the world of PMI. They want you to know how to segregate the people, high power, low power. That is what they're trying to understand from you. That's a good question, Guru Prasad. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, thank you.
But was it helping some of you to get some key points out of it, learning? Yeah, good.
Time waster question, this one, to be honest with you. I wasted like 7-8 minutes on this.
No, it's not wasted. You invested. Call like that.
Yeah, again, I ended up with the wrong answer. So
None of the above. That's the answer.
none of the above.
Pretty tricky. When I show the quadrant, does it spark something for you, Deepak? When you saw the quadrant, no, makes sense. Huh?
I mean, you can't bring every time that quadrant, right? I mean, sometimes you go with your practical thing, right? I mean, you read it. I mean, somebody is doing statistical analysis. Someone is not even in the same zone.
Yeah. Yep. I know practical word. I like it from you. At least for the exam hall, 4 hours, slightly park the practical some other place and see only from the PMI perspective. Yeah, that's a tricky one. Let me listen one more thing and then move on because this question is spending more time. Nagaraj, you have answered D. What made you to think D is a good answer?
Shri, actually, I understand that like starting I told, no, I understand that it's like environmental factors only because they mentioned in the second line, no, this audience is varied and geographically dispersed.
Oh, okay.
So then I thought like to be included in the stakeholder and standard updates and keep them satisfied.
I know it's a tricky question.
Yeah.
Good. Tricky question. It's a really tricky question. If I'm not seeing the answer, I'll take some time to observe it. It took at least 2 minutes to get the rhythm of the question itself. It's a tough question.
Yes.
I'll say it's a tough question. It's a tough question. Thanks for bringing it up. Good discussion.